Good morning and welcome 365 Days of Stories with Theo Mayer, Day 27. I'm continuing the story of Kupti and Imani. Now, the king was about to go off to do business in the country of Dur. And remember now that he had gotten wishes from both of his daughters as to what he could bring back to them. For Kupti, he was going to bring back a ruby necklace. And for Imani, he was going to bring back patience if he could find it. And he had said when she had asked for patience that he would do his best to find it, but he had never found it inside himself. So if it was to be had, he would get it. Well, it took him a few days to travel to Dur, and once he had finished his business, he then went through the marketplaces and found a beautiful necklace for Kupti. And from there, he didn't know where to begin to look for patience. So he had one of his best servants go off and search for it. And he said, just go through the town and ask people if they know where a person can get patience. We'll do the best we can. So the servant goes off and he's walking through the streets and through the marketplaces, calling out, does anyone have patience for sale? Does anyone have patience to sell? Now, some people mocked him for wanting to buy patience. And other people who had no patience just told him to get away. And other people thought he was just completely crazy. And as he went through the town, this kind of wave spread out from him of there's a madman going through town trying to find patience. Well, it got to the ears of the king of Dur that there was some madman going through the town looking for patience. And when he heard this, he sent one of his men out to go look for this madman and to bring him to his chamber, his meeting chamber, so that he could meet this guy and find out what was he about. And so this trusted man went off into the town, and it wasn't hard to find the crazy man calling out for patience. And within a short amount of time, he had brought him back to the king of Dur. Well, the king's own name was Patience, and that is why he was curious to find out, in fact, what this madman's intentions really were. And so he inquired, my good man, I hear you're running through the town looking for patience, and I'd like to know why are you looking for patience? And so the servant of Kupti and Imani's dad, the king, he said, well, my master, who's a king from a distant land, has sought patience as a gift for his daughter Imani. He wishes to bring patience back to her as a gift. And the king said, you certainly must have a very strange master. And the servant then went on to say, well, Imani is not only beautiful, but, she's young and beautiful and incredibly clever and industrious and, she's just the most kind-hearted princess you could ever imagine meeting. Now, the king of Dur kind of perked up with this, and he was like, I see. Well, I think I could probably bring her patience, but I'm not sure it would be quite the kind that she was expecting to receive. Oh, well, the servant said, anything will do. Whatever you could bring would be great. And so the king said, fine. And he told the servant to wait. And off he went to his own apartment chambers. Now, he went into his apartment chambers and got a small box with a lid. And into it he placed a fan that you would undo and fan yourself to cool yourself down. He placed that inside the box, brought it back to the servant, and said, here, give this to your master and have him give it to Imani. And the servant said, what can I give you for this? Certainly happy to pay whatever the cost is. And the king of Dur said, that's not a problem at all. Just take it. It's my gift. And so the servant went back to the king, and he presented the box to him and gave him an account of his adventures. And the king went back to his own country, and he presented the ruby necklace to Kupti, who was very excited to receive it. And then he had one of his servants take the box with a fan inside of it to Imani. Off he went. Now, when he got to Imani's incredibly splendid house and presented this gift from the king, she was surprised because she had never asked for anything. And so here the servant comes and says, well, this is the gift from your father, and that's all I can say. And bowing to Imani, he took his leave and went back to the palace. And so here Imani has this box and is wondering, what does she do with it now? And she looks it over and brings it inside the house and gives it to the old fakir. Now, I've been using this word fakir for this entire story, and you might want to know, what is a fakir? And a fakir is someone of the Muslim faith who is basically a renunciate, an ascetic, someone who has given up possessions as much as possible and lives basically on alms, on the generosity of other people, and is devoted to religious practices. So the old fakir looks at it, and it's a beautifully made box and has a very tight-fitting lid to it, but it seems that there's no key, no lock, no bolts, no springs to open it, nothing. And try as he might to get the lid off, it doesn't come. Now, I'll tell you, the king of Dur, when he had presented it to the servant to take with him, had told the servant that the box would only open to the person that needed its contents. And he had told the servant that indeed there was no key, no lock, no bolts, no springs, no hinges with which to open the box. Now, you might be wondering, this seems a little far-fetched. Is there some magic involved? And perhaps not magic, but perhaps it's more a knowing of how natural law actually functions and works. Now, it's hard to imagine But from everything that I understand, there was a time when many more things were possible from within than is true today. There was much more of an emphasis placed on what was within and unfolding what was within to what was without. It was the most important place to go was within, because everything was there. And it was said that people that did dwell within and put their attention within were able to do the most amazing things that were considered, in a certain respect, magic or incredible, unbelievable. And what better stories are there to tell than things that are incredible or unbelievable? So after the fakir had looked at the box for quite some time, he passed it back to Imani. He said, I can't open it. And no sooner had Imani put it in her lap that the box lid easily opened. She just put her hands on it and it opened right up. And she looked inside, and there inside was this beautiful fan. Well, she took the fan out and opened it and began fanning herself. And at the third stroke of the fan, suddenly appearing, as if out of nowhere, was the king of Dur. Imani's eyes opened wide with astonishment. And the old fakir, he couldn't speak for quite some time. He was just trying to take in what had just happened. Now, again, I will have to say that there was a time when people were, when they were dwelling at the source of all knowledge, the source of all creation, the source of all creativity. And they put their intention forth from that place. Many amazing things could happen. And here was the king of Dur, standing in a moment, days worth of journey away from his own kingdom in Imani's beautiful house. Tomorrow, I will tell you what happens next. Okay, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining.